At Manchester United, the gloomy atmosphere that once hung over seasons fractured by instability is gradually being replaced by a renewed sense of energy and unity. After a turbulent transitional period under Ruben Amorim, marked by internal upheaval and dressing room uncertainty, the club has finally found a steady focal point. At the heart of this transformation is not a flamboyant tactician or a headline-grabbing superstar, but a familiar figure, Michael Carrick. Carrick has not arrived with grand declarations or radical overhauls. Instead, he has brought composure, the calm authority of someone who understands every blade of grass at Old Trafford. After years in which the dressing room felt constrained by rigid philosophies and emotionally draining scrutiny, Carrick has restored something deceptively simple yet profoundly powerful: understanding. There is no longer a culture built on fear, no more tactical briefings delivered like lectures from a distant authority. Carrick prefers dialogue. He speaks to his players as an older brother might, someone who has lived through the pressures of elite football, who knows what it feels like to be judged after a single misplaced pass. That empathy has helped heal a squad that had grown mentally fatigued. One of the most significant changes under Carrick lies in emotional management. As United entered the decisive phase of the top four race against formidable rivals such as Chelsea FC and Liverpool FC, he refused to amplify the pressure. Instead, he projected calm. "When the manager is calm, we are calm," one senior player reportedly shared. That composure has acted as a stabilizing force during the most intense moments of the season. Importantly, the respect Carrick commands is not confined to established stars. Young players and squad members who once felt peripheral now sense genuine value within the system. Under his leadership, the rigid divide between starters and substitutes has softened. Opportunity is no longer a privilege, it is a reward for effort and commitment. Young talents are given real trust, not symbolic minutes. They are integrated early into first-team training and clearly informed of their roles. Carrick has established an unspoken rule: mistakes on the pitch are part of football, but dishonesty or lack of effort is unacceptable. That clarity empowers young players to perform without fear. In key victories against major opponents like Manchester City FC and Arsenal FC, the dressing room conversations have centered not only on tactical structure, but also on the trust instilled by the manager. Carrick does not need to shout to assert authority. His presence alone communicates expectation. Even former skeptics have begun to shift their stance. Initially, many argued that Manchester United required a globally renowned tactician, a marquee appointment to secure long-term success. Yet, as results improved, defensive solidity increased, and the team climbed the table, the narrative evolved. Instead of questioning Carrick's credentials, observers began asking why he should not be trusted with the role permanently. Perhaps the most symbolic moment came not in a press conference but in the stands at Old Trafford. The smile of Alex Ferguson as he watched the team perform spoke volumes. At Manchester United, a nod from Sir Alex often carries more weight than any public endorsement. Still, Carrick does not attempt to replicate Ferguson. He does not seek to build a personal empire or mimic a legendary persona. He has learned from the art of man management, from balancing discipline with unity, but he has shaped his own identity. Soft enough to listen, firm enough to maintain standards. There have been understandable fears of a former hero effect, the emotional uplift that fades without structural depth. The club's history offers cautionary tales of affection outweighing accountability. But the current context is different. The squad has been reshaped with a stronger emphasis on discipline and collective responsibility. In this environment, Carrick is not a sentimental appointment, but a manager who understands the fine line between trust and indulgence. The club's leadership structure also operates under clear performance standards. Every role is tied to accountability. Carrick is not a shield for institutional shortcomings. He is a key component within a broader system. That balance grants him authority without allowing it to become unchecked power. More importantly, Carrick understands the cost of stagnation. Having witnessed previous managerial cycles at close range, he recognizes how excessive leniency can erode standards. His quiet demeanor is not weakness, it is intentional restraint. He is close enough to earn trust, distant enough to command respect. Looking at Manchester United now, one thing is evident. The admiration for Michael Carrick is not a fleeting reaction to a run of victories. It is the product of consistent daily leadership. He does not promise distant trophies or dramatic revolutions. He focuses on structure, strengthening defensive organization, refining attacking efficiency, and restoring competitive spirit. Will this be enough to return the club to the summit of English football? The answer remains unwritten. But unlike previous seasons, when each setback triggered crisis and doubt, United now appear anchored by something sturdier: authentic trust, collective unity, and a manager who understands his responsibilities and his limitations. Old Trafford no longer feels like a theater of anxious sighs. It is gradually becoming a place of anticipation once more. At the center of this transformation stands Michael Carrick, understated, composed, and quietly determined. In modern football, where narratives shift overnight, calmness may be the rarest asset of all. And perhaps it is precisely that quiet resolve, not spectacle, not bravado, that is laying the foundation for a new chapter at Manchester United. A chapter built not on grand promises, but on stability, discipline, and belief forged day by day.